But the party went on all night. The party for me went on until the next morning. I went into town, and there was so many people I saw. It felt like everyone was out, everyone was hugging each other, it just went on for hours and hours and hours. And obviously some drink was consumed, but I think as well just the outpouring of emotion through the whole day. It honestly took me about 4 or 5 days to sort of hit an equilibrium again, you know what I mean? Because it's so much had gone out, I'd swung so much one way. It took me a long time to get back again and feel normal, because that's something I've waited all my life to see.
Very, very happy, of course, but to a certain extent also quite unreal, because you've worked so hard for this moment to happen, and when it then does happen, it needs some time for you to truly feel it. But the fans were so happy that it didn't took me long to understand what we've achieved together.
Hello and welcome to the latest update from Granado Reports. Trent Alexander-Arnold has announced he's leaving Liverpool at the end of the season.
We need to talk about this fella.
Do we?
Okay, next question. But no, seriously, where do you stand on Trent?
I'm just heartbroken that he's going, because he's a boyhood Liverpool fan. He's gone through the whole academy, spent 20 years here. The club I'm not buying into this narrative that he's give everything to the club. The club have give everything to him. Yeah. They've put him in the position that he's in to be good enough to be going to Real Madrid. Obviously, he's got quality and he's got talent and things like that. But, the likes of Jurgen Klopp give him his opportunity. And us Liverpool fans have defended him again and again and again when we've been told he can't defend, he's actually not very good, he's been getting compared to Kyle Walker, or Reece James is better than him. And we defended him every single time because he was one of our own. And then for him to run down his contract, decide we're not getting any money for him, and he's going to go to one of our rivals. And you can say Madrid aren't our rivals, but they are. We've lost Champions League finals to them. He said in an interview himself last year that they were one of our European rivals. Yeah. For him to then move on to Madrid for a free, it's just heartbreaking, because it just felt as though we'd backed him so much, and he'd spun this whole narrative in the media that he was going to be the next Steven Gerrard. Gerrard was his idol. He wanted to finish his career at Liverpool, and Liverpool was his entire life. And his mural says, just a young lad from Liverpool who's living his dream. So we've all thought for so long, this is his dream. He wants to be our captain one day. He's always said, I want to be Liverpool captain. He wants to be the next Steven Gerrard. So we've put all our eggs in the Trent basket and all our love and our emotion, and we've just expected them to want to stay. So when it came down to those 3 contracts, of Mo, Virgil and Trent, I just always assumed he was going to sign, because he felt the same way about Liverpool as all of us sitting here did. And it just turns out that that's not the way he felt. I understand he wants a change. He said he wants a challenge, and he said he wants to get outside of his comfort zone. And that's where I get offended, because I think no Premier League season is your comfort zone. Trying to win a title for Liverpool is the most important thing to any of us. So if you're one of us and you're a world-class player, you should want to use those skills for Liverpool to be able to do that. Like Jamie Carragher's come out and said, you should want to go and win the 21st title and go ahead of Man United. You should want to go and win the 7th European Cup, all of those things with Liverpool. That's not your comfort zone. That's not boring. That should be... Well, it's all our lives' dreams for all of us, and he's decided that that's not it for him anymore, and he thinks that he's got a higher ceiling than that. But as Liverpool fans, we see Liverpool as the pinnacle of everything. I understand a lot of people will look at Madrid and say they're a bigger football club than Liverpool, but we just are that way, where we say you can win leagues here, you can win Champions Leagues here. Why do you not want to use your skill and do that at Liverpool? And then you walk away on a free. It's upsetting, and it's the only downer on this season that I've had. But the fact that Salah and Virgil have both signed just says to me, Arne Slot's building something that's worth being a part of, whether Trent wants to be a part of that or not. It was always Liverpool, Virgil said, and they're believing what Slot's bringing in, and that makes me love Slot even more, because he's been able to get those 2 to stay. 2 out of 3 is not too bad at the end of the day.
I was going to say that clearly there was no change in Trent's mind about this. But how impressive was it that Slot managed to convince Van Dijk and Salah to stay at the club?
Whoever got on the phone and whoever done them deals, yeah, it's fabulous really, because you don't want winning a league title to be the culmination of something. It should be the start. So this shouldn't be, oh, Liverpool have won one league, let's tear it all down and let's go again. And before you know it, 30 years have passed and you haven't won one. You know, look at Arsenal, 20 odd years without title. Manchester United are in the middle of a similar run. You don't want that. So keeping your two most influential players for a couple more years, for me, it shows that they think they can win. Because if it was purely about money, then Mo Salah would be playing in Saudi Arabia now because he's been offered £1 million a week or whatever. So he's clearly got ambitions that he wants to win. Virgil van Dijk, the same thing. You know, numerous clubs would have taken both of those players. So they've obviously had some assurances that Liverpool mean business and that this wasn't a flash in the pan. We've won a league title, see it in 20 years' time. No, they want to win next year and win the year after and win the year after. So that for me is the biggest thing, is that, you know, there's this narrative, oh, well, you know, you got lucky that City fell away and Arsenal had injuries, so yeah, enjoy your title, but it was a bit of a fluke. Those two fellas clearly don't believe that, because they would be playing for other football teams next year, because they're both too good to be going through like a rebuild phase. You know, when Fernando Torres left Liverpool, I think he famously said, I've been told it's going to take 2 or 3 more years for us to get back to where we want to be, and I haven't got 2 or 3 more years. I want to go and win now. That would have been the same with these guys. They're in the 30s. You know, they haven't got 3 years. They've probably only got 3 years left, really, before, you know, they decide to do something else. So I think it's massively encouraging that the 2 of the best players in the world, for me, the best defender in the world and the greatest Liverpool player of all time, have decided that they are going to stay here for another couple of years. They've obviously got immediate success on their agendas, and yeah, it bodes well for the next couple of years at least. But
to get that success, do they need investment in this squad now? Do the owners need to back Slot in the transfer window this summer?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I said before that, you know, I think Slot's wrung everything he possibly could have done out of this squad and more, exceeded all expectations. It's brilliant we've got over the line and won the thing, but to ask him to go again, I think would be unrealistic. You know, we need some stuff doing. We need to do something in both full-back positions. We need a midfielder. We need a striker. You could argue more than that as well, and plenty of people are. If we can go and get a top number 9, and obviously they're rare these days, but if we could, like I imagine a top number 9 being in that side this season, we wouldn't be talking about point totals and stuff like that. We'd be out of sight. I think he's got so much out of this squad this season. I think he's done brilliantly to win the league. But to ask him to go again with the same group, I think would be unrealistic. Everyone's going to reinforce. Pep Guardiola's going to rebuild and will no doubt have money to spend. Liverpool need to spend too, because Liverpool have been, I think, conservative at times. There's been times where they haven't built from a position of strength. This is undoubtedly a position of strength. They've won the league. You know, there's been unbelievable scenes, unbelievable support. There must be players around Europe looking at that thinking, I wouldn't mind a part of that. So go out and capitalise on that. Go out and spend the money. We've made a fortune from the Champions League. We've got a new deal with Adidas, sponsorships, revenue, all going through the roof. You know, Premier League prize money, all the rest of it, on the telly every 5 minutes. You're not telling me there isn't a big pot of money there ready to go and spend. They can afford it. They can go and get anyone they want in the world, as far as I'm concerned, and they should.
None of us here are old enough to remember this, but I can only imagine that there must have been a spell early in Bob Paisley's era when, even though he was doing great, people were still thinking about Bill Shankly. What does Arne Slot have to do to step out of Jurgen Klopp's shadow and become the man? What next?
Win the Champions League. I mean, we love a Champions League at Liverpool. We love Europe. We feel so connected to it. It always feels like it's our raison d'etre, it's our difference maker. We'd love to retain the title as well. It's those big ones. It's the big ones. You know, League Cup, FA Cup, great. Nice day out. Good to see a trophy and red ribbons. Good to see a parade around the city. But Bill Shankly said the league was our bread and butter. And then we've gone on and been superb in Europe. That is part of our heritage, our history. That's what we all love. That's what we want. And if he's lifting European Cups, then he 100% has stepped out of Klopp's shadow. I think he has already, though. He's won the league in his first season. I don't think anyone's banging on about Klopp. I don't think there's anything to... He's stepped in his shoes. He's walked in his shadow. There's no Klopp hangover anymore. We love Klopp, but we love Slot as well.
Maybe they can sing a duet at Anfield. That'd be quite nice.
I was on the pre-season tour and a lot of the media duties and stuff, and every single press conference someone was asking about Jurgen Klopp. Every first question. And I got to a point, I remember speaking to some of the journalists going, can you ask him something else? Like the poor fella, like, you know, it's like you're asking him about the guy before all the time. That's stopped now. When's the last time anyone spoke to him about, it doesn't happen? He brought it up on that pitch at Anfield that he wanted to go back to it. So he's already out the shadow. You know, he's won the league title as a Liverpool manager. You know, he's on that pantheon of managers. What I suggest is there are other teams around who are, yes, of course, going to strengthen, but Liverpool are at the top of the pile at this moment in time. Strike while the iron's hot. Go and win your next one. Go and win the next one. You know, Jurgen, when he was winning his ones, he had to compete with that City side, which were unbelievable. We don't know what they're going to be like at Manchester City, but, you know, they're trophyless for the first time in a long time. They've got a lot of players there who looks like the legs have gone and they're trying to do the replacements and they're going to spend some money. Go and win it again. Go and keep winning and winning and winning. I love when he speaks because he doesn't downplay. He says, I'm Liverpool manager, I have to win. The expectation is to win. And for a little while there, that kind of got lost, I think. You know, we were all patient enough. But now, you've got to go, just keep winning. Go and keep winning. So he's not in the shadow. No one's asking about Jurgen anymore, which is fantastic for him. He's his own man. He does it his way. But why can't he be a 2-time, 3-time, 4-time Premier League winner? Why can't he win the 7th European Cup and the 8th European Cup and more trophies? Absolutely go and do that, because you've got Virgil van Dijk, you've got Mohamed Salah, you've got Alisson, you've got world-class players in your team, and now you get to go and put your stamp on it. So he's won the league with effectively Jurgen's team. Now go and win it with your own team, and I think he's more than set up and more than capable of doing it.
He's already written himself into our history books now. He's already made himself an icon. You know, we've heard over the last couple of weeks that he's going to get his face put on our banner of managers, and the moment you're on that, it's because you're absolute royalty to us. We treat our managers like they're gods. You know, you come into the football club and the football club is yours and we're yours, and the fact that he's won a Premier League for us in front of all of the fans, he's already there for me. We're not talking about Jurgen too much anymore. Obviously there's that whole thing around it of this is his team, like we've already said, and he's going to go and build his own team, but the fact that we've managed to win the league, and you can see that we could do it 5 different starters on the pitch, left back, you know, you could name so many positions we could improve. The fact that he's managed to do that with a team that's not even his, he's getting his face on the Kop, on banners, you know, I'll probably be painting him all season. He's already his own fella now, and we've already fell in love with him, and I just don't see him still sitting in a shadow of Jurgen.
Well, who knows? This time next year, we could all be sat here again talking about another title win or a Champions League win. Thanks so much to you all for coming in.
Transition turned to triumph for Liverpool as a new dawn gave rise to a new hero. Arne Slot has already etched himself into the history books, achieving more than most thought possible in his debut season.
The moment I knew I would become the new head coach over here, that's already a moment where you're so proud of, to be part of such a great football club. Then now to be part of the history of this football club is something I think I could have only dreamt of.
And this time the Reds faithful have been able to celebrate together. While the fans will never forget Klopp, maybe Arne has slotted in just fine.